Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. I am also the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. And this little guy behind me, he may be the cause of all the cattle mutilations around here. We're not sure. We're still holding him for questioning. So, if you're listening to a lot of your podcasts, I've got a blow up alien behind me watching every move I make here. I don't know, maybe the kids don't want to play with them, I'm not sure. But it's been an interesting week. A lot of conversations with a lot of people. I told people I would update them on what's going on. I think the podcast is actually the best place to kind of give you guys some updates. The show is coming along. I have a name. I just got to get a copyright before I tell you guys anything. I'm working on the intro right now. And then I got to meet with some witnesses here, hopefully soon. The more I can talk to people about the cattle mutilations that happened in Madisonville, the more I'm finding out there's all kinds of other mutilations all around this area. Now, some people are saying it's Bigfoot. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still really, really on the fence on that one. Some people are saying it's this little guy behind me. Aliens or UFOs or whatever. Some people are saying it's the government. Some people are saying it's just people coming onto people's property and essentially, putting the cow down and then basically mutilating it and bringing it back through and using them for ritual sacrifices. Not just cows that have been taken. There's horses and other animals that have also been mutilated over the last 300 years. And I kind of went into that in the last podcast, so I don't want to spend a lot of time with that. But I have talked to several witnesses. I've had a lot of very interesting conversations, and that's an ongoing investigation. We've updated some gear again. I had my number one. As soon as I released that last podcast, my computer immediately went down. I was in the middle of editing the video, and that's why it took so long to get the video onto the YouTube and Rumble channel. So I apologize if you're listening or watching. We're waiting for that to come out on video. Not sure exactly what happened. I was able to play around with my computer a little bit and get it working again. So now everything's up and going again, which is great. Also lost our video camera. For some reason, it decided to conk out. Not a cheap camera either. So if you don't know, we've got all the gear. We have DSLR cameras. We have handy cams with night vision. We have full spectrum cameras. They're just little GoPros and stuff like that. We have GoPros. We have so many cameras. We have DVR cameras. We have about 15 DVR cameras and stuff like that for, of course, investigating ghosts and stuff. I think we're going to use them for Bigfoot too. What we're planning on doing is getting a trailer, parking it maybe in a place where there's a lot of paranormal activity. Maybe cover the RV and the car with some kind of camo tarp or some kind of camouflage, something, a blanket, whatever, something that covers up the car, and then put these cameras up on top and monitor them from inside. They also record any motion or movement or noises. So if we get any screams or anything, and then also, some full news, just got a new video camera. This is going to take us up to the next level. This is a Canon. I couldn't get the next higher level just because I just didn't have the financial funds. This is the XA15, and I know a lot of you are going, "Oh, well, you should have got the 17." Well, I couldn't afford an extra $1,000. And I appreciate everybody who's donated to the channel and helped us out. That's actually part of the reason we were able to get a new camera. And so thank you guys for everybody who does that. If you're new to the channel and you're just listening and you like to donate, we have a buy me a coffee here. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let's see. It is okay. More things open. Okay. So, again, we're sponsored by Manscaped. If you're interested in coming over here and purchasing anything from Manscaped, oh, jeez. That was a bright flash of lightning. We may have some thunder here in a sec, guys. Bear with me. We just had a real big thunderstorm roll through. 80, 90 mile an hour winds and craziness. No tornadoes, thank God. But yeah, anyways. Dang, that just rattled the whole house. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that. Just cool. It's a cool thing about living in Texas. We get really cool lightning and thunder out here and stuff. So anyway, so I didn't want to talk about this. What was I talking about? I lost my place. Okay. So we're talking about. Okay, I completely lost my train of thought. All right, bear with me. Sorry about that, guys. I completely lost my train of thought. So, anyways, we've got new videos coming out here. If you haven't seen them, we were talking about the camera. But, oh, buy me a coffee. I'm sorry. That's what we were talking about. Let me duplicate this page. And let me take this one back. This all the way to it's stuff on my screen. Oh, boy. Okay, all right. So this is our channel here. This is the Deep Woods YouTube channel. If you want, there's a link to buy us a coffee up here. Buy us as many as you want. I don't want to get into too much of that. But if you're interested in buying us coffee, we appreciate it. I need to get back to that one video. Bear with me. I wanted to share some new videos with you guys. And the reason I'm talking about this, I know it's not Bigfoot related, but I wanted to kind of cover this. I'm kind of cramming a lot of information all into one podcast, so bear with me. It's all hopefully paranormal in nature. But anyways, all right. So I released a video here, paranormal activity happening in the office. There's 4 parts. I'm sorry that's not all coming out at once. When we put it all at once, it seems like people are really interested, but they miss things. And we're doing shorter videos. So I could have made that all one video. If you guys are interested, comment down below and let me know if that's okay to put it all in one video. I could make like a 5 or 6 minute video with it, and you guys could have seen the whole thing. Or I could go back and do that. It's not a big deal. I can add it all together and put it on here for you guys. So yeah, if you haven't seen part 1, I don't want to give it away, but I heard something sound like this. It was coming from the office in here. And so I just kind of explored and recorded as I walked through and got closer and closer, and it stopped for a second and then it started again. And I couldn't figure out what it was. Well, I just want to tell you, I know this is kind of spoiling it. Spoiler alert, this is what it was. It was this bag. I found all these receipts. This is our tax returns and stuff. I found all these receipts kind of strewn across the floor behind me where my chair is. This was down to my right, sitting on a piece of furniture. And again, I don't know if you can hear that crinkling noise, but that's what was happening. Something was pulling the receipts out of the bag. And it was inside another bag, so there's no way it could have just pulled itself out. It would have had to go up about a foot, up over, and then pull all the receipts out. There's just no way, no physical way. So anyways, if you guys want to watch those videos, they'll be coming out, I think, through next Monday or Tuesday. And then I'm working on putting, like I said, I'm putting the show together. So the first one will be, I was going to make it all Bigfoot. I was just going to do everything Bigfoot for this show, because I know everybody's into Bigfoot. And I think that's going to be the primary thing with this show. But we have too many people contacting us and asking us to come out to locations, investigate hauntings and UFOs. Now we have cattle mutilations. I've heard of some people have contacted me recently about a possible river monster and stuff like that. So anyways, I know this is Bigfoot podcast, so let's get into this. So, I get so many questions, and honestly, I mean, I have more questions than I have answers for you guys. I have a lot of questions myself. The more I experience them, the more it's like, okay, what? And so it's just kind of fun because it never really gets old. And the more I research, the more it's like, okay, each situation I run into is a little different, but they all kind of tie together. So Here is a very interesting story. This is from Jefferson Community College, and all the links to everything I'm talking about will be below. You can go through and listen and watch if you want. But I'm just going to read through this. It says Bigfoot walks into town. It says this is from Chris L. Brock. It says the Bigfoot wandered into Highville, and this is in New York, one fine summer morning and climbed a large maple tree in the village park. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Multiple witnesses. It says, as the sun rose over the village located in the foothills of the Aerodax, Marlon Jones, the owner of the Highville dinner located in the shadows of the leafy park, told the regulars who were buzzing about the unusual wildlife development that the creature looked lost. He said it sat there in a notch between two big tree branches, gazing over the village like he was trying to remember where he parked his car. And I'll show this to you on a map in just a minute here. So it says Clifford Ensford, the regular customer of the diner, disagreed. He says between sips of coffee, he said that the beast wasn't lost, but was looking dangerous, and theorized it was obviously planning on an overthrow of the village. Oh, so it's a sarcasm. Well, it's really raining up there. So he also he also thought it purposely swam across the St. Lawrence River from Canada and came down the river valley to its current perch. Okay, we're not going to go into that. He was, just being silly. So they called the police, and it says the Highville Police Department was dispatched to the scene and set up a command center in the shadows of the tree. And the whole park was shortly surrounded by yellow crime tape, so they didn't want anybody to come in and bother Bigfoot, which is awesome. They were being really nice. So the chief of police says, geez, I didn't think Bigfoots were real. And this is Police Chief Bill Myers, said as he climbed out of his patrol car and glanced up at the creature. He said the first thing he noticed was the smell, and he recalled reading about particular odors that was reported with Bigfoot sightings. He said, I think it has something to do with what they eat, said Patrolman Richard West, who was waiting near the tree with his coffee. His laptop was open to a Bigfoot information page, and he was eager to share his newfound knowledge with the chief. He said, "Did you eat the blah? Do you know they eat cows?" Okay, again, the Bigfoot being thrown into the cattle mutilation. All right, case here. So, and there's actually, I've talked to two witnesses that have witnessed them in our area, in the Brazos Valley. So, I mean, our area is very forested. I didn't really think that Bigfoots really kind of came down into these areas. Maybe there's just a small amount of them. Maybe they're just wandering through. Who knows? But the whole reason I'm sharing this story with you guys is I want to share that they do come into populated areas and they are seen by people. So let's keep going with this. So basically, he said, the chief said, I don't care what they eat. He said the problem is getting it down. Maybe if he ate a cow or two, that'd be a good thing. Okay, so let me just kind of generalize this. Backed up by such experts' knowledge, a half dozen officers approached the tree carefully, looking up at each step. They were certain the Bigfoot was going to jump down onto them, like something out of an airborne ninja. But fears passed as they got closer and nothing happened. So essentially, the Bigfoot was not being hostile towards people. Anyways, he says he doesn't seem to be bothered by us, the patrolman West said. They decided to shout something at it. Chief Myers went to his patrol car, retrieved his bullhorn, and spoke into it. And then the words coming out, spoke into it, words coming out of seconds apart. Do you know where you are? And just basically saying it kind of like he did. Indeed, the Bigfoot just lazily looked at the officers. He says, "You're right." Chief Meyer says, "You're right." Looking befuddled. Call the community college. So they called the community college, which is the village of Hinesville Bat Signal. Okay, they're just making this into like a Batman and Robin thing. Okay, the chief theorized that maybe the college had Bigfoot experience and they knew their language. So Bigfoots possibly do have a language, and I've heard it. I've actually recorded it. Unfortunately, when my computer got wiped, I lost that evidence. But it was really cool. It was like two old men jibber jabbing. And this is pretty close to what it sounded like. I can't exactly mimic it, but it was very close to that. And I could barely hear it, but my audio recorder picked it up. All right, so let's see. Closest they could find to a Bigfoot. Okay, so the closest they could find to a Bigfoot linguist at the college was a part-time uh, anthropology professor who once studied the mating habits of ostriches. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Okay, let me just read through this really quickly because I don't want to bother you with this. You guys can come on here and read this. I want to find out what happened, how they got it out of there. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just looking. I'm just reading this to see if I can find out what happened. So it sounds like the Bigfoot fell asleep and it woke up on the ladder. They put a ladder up there, slowly extended from a fire truck to the tree. It looks like they tried to go up and get it. At first, the Bigfoot looked at the device. Suddenly, it made a movement, the first of its kind since the. Let's see. Sorry. It says the first of its kind seen by the crowd around the tree, where makeshift signs or support Bigfoot. Healthcare for Sasquatch. Don't let a liberal Bigfoot loose. And Bigfoot for. Oh my God. The person writing this must have had a really fun time doing this. So it says the Bigfoot displayed a stick in its hand and and loudly pounded it on the ladder. It says it echoed off the buildings. So again, maybe mimicking tree knocks. I think it was trying to defend itself, of course. But I mean, if you look at Bigfoot behavior compared to like an orangutan or any of those kind of animals, any of those apes, they do use branches and they bang them on trees every once in a while to locate each other. All right, so the Bigfoot displayed blah blah blah. Okay, read that. It says that's how they communicate. Patrolman West said, and it says on the Discovery Channel. He said it's calling other Bigfoots. Let's see. So he said it says the Patrolman West radio back to the station. One of the remaining officers said one of the remaining officers there said the tranquilizer gun wasn't available. Actually, the gun was available, but all the tranquilizer darts that went with it had been used during crowd control in the county fair. Oh boy. I don't know if I want to visit this location. Holy moly, they shoot you with darts. Okay. So maybe we should just shoot the darn critter with a regular rifle, the chief said, because they were worried about the crowd getting too rowdy. So they brought in one of the regular rifles and gave it to the village dog control officer who was on duty. The Bigfoot slumped and its body got caught in some branches a few feet below from where it was perched. As the sun set, nearby roofing crews were able to retrieve the body. Oh, wow. The roofers wanted to keep the Bigfoot in order to stuff it and use it as a mascot. So it sounds like they shot it. Where's this body at? Okay, now I've got more research to do. I need to find out where this body went. So we wanted to bury the Bigfoot in the deepest ends of the Lake Ontario, but the best they could do is rent the ferry for the journey between Cape Vince and Wolf's Island. Under the cover of darkness, the Bigfoot was loaded aboard, weighed down. Oh no! Oh no! They wrapped it in a tarp and dumped it overboard. Oh, so essentially they took the body, they wrapped it up in a tarp and tied some weights to it and threw it in the river. That's sad. So they, number one, they killed it. So there is a body. The problem is it's at the bottom of a river. Oh my goodness. Where were the Bigfoot researchers when we needed them there to grab that body? Okay, that's a very interesting story. I will be contacting these people. I'll be contacting Chris L. Brock. And if you're listening, Chris, I want to talk to you more about this. I need to find out more about this. This is really interesting. So let's take a look on the map where this happened. Hold on a second. So this is, come on. All right. So this is where the school is. Now, let's see, what year does this say this happened? Is there a year on this publication? Let's see, I'm trying to find a year. 2023. Copyright, and basically that's just a copyright for this website, but it doesn't have a date on when this happened. And there's no contact information for this gentleman either. So if you know Chris L. Block, excuse me, can't talk tonight. Chris L. Brock, who went to Jefferson Community College, please give him my information. I want to talk to him. I want to know more about this. Now I'm super curious about this. They shot not only shot a Bigfoot and they dropped the body in a river. I wonder if it wasn't too long ago, we might be able to retrieve that body. Okay, so looking at this area, it is forested all around this little city. Everybody basically lives mainly along the coast. This is in New York City. I'm sorry, New York, the state of New York, not New York City. Yeah, in close to New Haven, it looks like. So if you're a Bigfoot researcher in New York, you got to track this guy down and find out where that body is. Maybe you can get a hold of it. Maybe we can get an actual body, even if it's just bones. At this point, they dropped it in an unknown location. We need to, put the sheriff's feet to the fire. I'm sure if is retired, he'll talk. If he hasn't been told not to. So I wonder where that river was. Let's look and see where that river is that we were just talking about here. Because now I'm really, let's see, Cape Vincent and Wolf Island. Let's see if we can find Cape Vincent on the map here. So we're going to put this in and see. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, where's Wolf Island? That's Lake Ontario. So it looks like there's Wolf Island right there. So they dumped the body somewhere in between Canada and the United States. This is the St. Lawrence River. I imagine this is very, very deep. I'm going to save this as a Bigfoot sighting. And I'll put more information into this later. That really sucks. They had a damn body. Holy moly. I'm sorry, guys, for reacting, but you may have had the missing link and you got rid of it. I wonder if there was a government officials involved in that. I'm sorry, I always talk about the government in bad light, but okay. So here's another one. This is from the National Guard, believe it or not. It doesn't say what, I think this is from the state of Washington. And it basically talks about how they believe Bigfoot's real. It says Bigfoot is unknown to many titles. Bigfoot is known by many titles with many different cultures, although the name Bigfoot is generally attributed to the mountainous western region of North America. The common name Sasquatch comes from the Sasquatch, which is probably the name of a tribe, and they were basically in the north central region of America. So they also call it the Wendigo. Interesting. And we've talked about the Wendigo before. So if you're interested in learning more about the Wendigo, go back and look for my podcast on that. So it says other nations tell of a large creature, much like a man, but so they say it has special powers and characteristics. It says in the northern plains believed to be the Rougarou appeared in times of danger, and other nations agreed that the hairy apparition was a messenger of warning, telling man to change his ways. So, okay, that's interesting. Hold on, let's see. All right, so this is the part I really wanted to read to you. It says the North American settlers started reporting sightings during the late 1800s into the early 1900s, with occasional finding of footprints, sporadic encounters, and a few grainy photos and videos adding to the mystery. Those who have claimed to see Bigfoot have described everything from a large upright ape to an actual human, very human, sometimes standing over 8 feet tall and described as powerfully built. It says the debate and the research continue. Entire organization exists to study and document Bigfoot and prove his existence, and groups regularly search the northwest woods looking for the ultimate proof. So it says, in one very real sense, however, Bigfoot does exist. It says the Western Air Defense Sector, I can't talk. The Western Air Defense Sector, Washington Air National Guard adopted the mascot of Bigfoot and operates a 24-hour daily crew, 7 days a week, monitoring the skies of nearly 73% of the United States and Canada. And it says, just like Bigfoot, the legend of Bigfoot, the sector is rarely seen and rarely heard. But rest assured, it continues to observe, if necessary, serve as a messenger or warning. So essentially, they're saying Bigfoot exists without saying Bigfoot exists. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So this is in St. Louis, Missouri. There's one of our, let's see, blah, blah, blah. So it says a man named Matt said he was never a Bigfoot believer. Sounds just like me. He says that in 2018, he was driving when he saw movement in the woods. He thought he was going to be a deer, but it was much bigger. He said he saw something walk right across the road, and it was brown as a paper sack. He also said he saw it jump into a nearby ditch and noticed its feet were jet black. He also said the creature had long black hair. He says Matt was dumbfounded. He says he also said that he learned of other reporting sightings in the area. So Matt says he's part of the SEMO Bigfoot Encrypted Research Group out of Cape Girardeau. So is Bill the second person interviewed in the documentary? So it says Bill said he went camping in an area where Bigfoots were reported to be sighted. He thought he was just going to get a good night's sleep, but it's anything but that. Says he woke up at 1:30 a.m. to a lot of noise, including owls. He then heard lots of huffing and puffing near his tent. Bill said he jumped and spun around and thought he saw Bigfoot. He said they will let you have the daytime, but they don't want you there at night. Said Bill. He said that he was afraid he wouldn't make it to his car without getting attacked, so he grabbed his loaded 45 pew pew and shot towards the creature. Bill said that that was a mistake because it was so loud it stirred the woods. He said he realized maybe other creatures were angry because they thought he shot one of their own. It says another Sasquatch theory episode released early in this month took a tour with a member of the SEMO Bigfoot group. That member showed the documentary maker around an area where there were some Bigfoot tracks, and says they normally says that he says that he says would normally be seen with the naked eye with proper tracking abilities. I'm sorry, the word sometimes the way they word this, it's just really weird. It's like a tongue twister. It says the episode, blah blah blah. Anyways, let's just a correction. Yeah. All right. So this is on another YouTube channel. You guys can go check out his channel too. I've never actually watched his, but that's pretty interesting. Here's the one I wanted to show you guys. All right. So it says loss of space threatening North American Sasquatch. Excuse me as I make a drink here. But my whistle. Okay. So it says Tiffany Holloway, Office of Communication, U.S. Forest Service, April 1st, 2015. This is 8 years ago. It says there are many reasons the U.S. Forest Service conserves open spaces. It allows us to deliver clean water, provide space for recreational activities, and maintain wildlife habitat for a variety of creatures, most notably the North American Sasquatch. Okay. So it says, while most people believe this ape man to be a thing of folklore and urban legend, researchers Thaddeus Guttenberg with the U.S. Forest Service Mythological Wildlife Division recently confirmed that Bigfoot is as real as he is. Now, let me reread that for you. With the U.S. Forest Service Mythological Wildlife Division recently confirmed that Bigfoot is as real as he is. So now you got the government saying they're real. At least he is. So he said we've been keeping its existence under wraps for years to protect its privacy. So it says this is because the country is losing more and more open space each day. We want to make it known that the habitat of one of America's greatest legends may be at risk. Really? Well, yeah, we are in basically moving into their territory, in my opinion. And I think every time we go into their area, they move a little further out. But I have a lot of theories, and I've talked about them little bit by little bit. There's one I will not talk about because if I'm right, it'll blow the lid off of Bigfoot research, and everybody will, be able to figure out where they're at. I just, after pinning thousands of different reports and reading about thousands of different reports and meeting with witnesses and all this other stuff, I have a real solid theory on places to find Bigfoots all across the United States and possibly across the world too. So anyways, but it's not going to pinpoint them to they're right here. It'll pinpoint them to an area. If you've ever seen the show, what is it? Expedition Bigfoot, I think it was, where they say they used scientific information and they knew exactly what area the Bigfoots were in. I'm pretty sure I have a general idea of how they did that. Maybe they already know my theory, but anyways, it says most people only knew Bigfoot from the 1987 classic film Harry and the Hendersons, and its recent work appearing in more than 40 beef jerky commercials. They're funny. If you haven't seen a Jack Link's commercial with Bigfoot, I mean, 90% of them are just hilarious. I think they're on YouTube. Um, I still watch them from time to time. I haven't seen any recently, unfortunately. I think they moved away from it, but those were great commercials. Messing with Sasquatch, oh yeah. Normally I wouldn't say go watch a commercial, but yeah, those are, if you're into Bigfoot, they're just funny, and so, anyways, it says, but what most people don't know is that it wasn't just a guy in a suit. It was an actual hominoid-like creature. But despite his brushes with Hollywood fame, the tall, dark, and hairy creature has remained elusive. Okay, now I'm scratching my head here, going, "What?" I'm pretty sure you guys are too. So did they just say that the thing that you see in the Finding Bigfoot commercials is a real Bigfoot? Um, okay, there's a lot of information coming out here tonight. Um, I might have to contact this guy too because I want to know what he knows. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's keep reading because this just keeps getting more and more interesting. It says throughout the years, he has been spotted more than 400 times just in and around California. Since reports of his actual existence were confirmed by the Forest Service, many uh, recreationists have spotted the ape-like creature. The first sighting in March 26th at 7:30 a.m. was by a group of teenage hikers in the Cleveland National Forest in California. I've been there. I've seen them up there. Yes, I know they are there. Um, so yeah, that goes back to Black Star Canyon because Black Star Canyon is right in front of. I mean, it leads up into the Cleveland National Forest, and I believe they come down into that area to get water, to go to Irvine Lake, and, maybe take a dip, go fishing, do whatever they do. Okay. Okay. So they said they captured several great photos of the beast, but like most evidence over the years, they would just mysteriously have vanished. Gee, I wonder why. It says the second sighting was in another national forest. I'm not going to even try and read that in Oregon, in on March 31st at 10:31. This is probably back in, I don't know what the year was. It says the anonymous witness said that he was capturing fireflies with his two kids when he heard a loud rustling sound. He said then he noticed a hairy figure step out of the trees. He frantically searched for his night vision binoculars and saw it was no bear. He said that thing, Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, was huge and scary, said the witness. It says, I always thought Bigfoot was a myth. Too bad I didn't have my video camera. Well, we got one now. Also, I have that. I'm going to test this. I'm going to test this camera out. This new camera, this new Canon. I'm going to test it out with night vision. This also has on the side here. I'll show you real quick. I'm going to do a whole video on this, an unboxing video, but it has a mount for. So I can hold that like that. A mic, which I have the mic. I have the mic that goes in here. So we will be using that. We'll be using that soon. I'm just waiting for some more parts for that mic to come in, and we'll be able to use that to hopefully get better sound. I'm hoping we can really capture what you're not hearing on video. That those screams, those howls, those tree knocks, they're like greatly diminished by the time you hear them on video. What you're hearing sounds distant, but we're hearing them like so much louder than that, and they're so much deeper, and there's so much better. We could do so much better at documenting those. I need to when I go out, and I need to start carrying my audio recorder with me somewhere. Put it somewhere in my hat, in my hanging from my neck. I don't know, something anywhere. Anyways, all right. So blah 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 blah. Okay, so Not known to many, that says the Forest Service has invested in high-tech cameras that only reportable high-tech cameras that only report credible Bigfoot images and sounds. So they're saying they're aware of it. So that it says that, so the next time you're viewing one of our animal cams streaming on live on YouTube, pay close attention because you may see a glimpse of the giant creature. I really hope that they're not messing with us and this is not a fake website. It says the last sighting this week that we know of was by a camper in the Gifford Pitch Knot National Forest in California near Mount St. Helens, which I've heard a lot of reports of Bigfoots in and around Mount St. Helens. I also heard that when Mount St. Helens erupted and basically did all that damage, it also killed. They found burned bodies of Bigfoots in and around where the explosion happened. All right. Let's see. So the eyewitness was collecting wood for a campfire when she noticed a huge structure that was shaped like a nest. It said there were several limbs woven together, creating some kind of dome. Now, I've seen that too. And her name was Mary Contrary. Now, I'm a little skeptical. That's an interesting name. Because I don't know what, let's see, I don't know what if it, I don't know what it was until I saw a few large footprints by the structure. This is just worded really strange. And so that's how I knew it was a Sasquatch. With a confirmed existence of Bigfoot, the Forest Service has put together a few outdoor recreational safety tips. Now, you can see it to my right here. Let me turn my camera just a little. This says, warning, Bigfoot area, stay on marked trails. It's actually a replica of some of the signs that are possibly out there in the forest. And I've seen Bigfoot signs when I lived in California. I was driving through the mountains in Migdare and stuff. And there's like Bigfoot crossing signs. There's all kinds of stuff. And I don't think all of it's just like, ha ha ha, we're just having fun with you. I think some of it might actually be real. And I've actually heard park rangers, some of them, not very many, very few, will actually come out and talk like this guy is about them really being real and stuff like that. But again, you guys, have to take all this with a huge grain of salt. I don't expect anyone to believe until you've had your own encounter where you can say it can't be anything else but. So, anyways, let's keep going with this. So it says the confirmed existence of Bigfoot. The Forest Service has put together a few outdoor and recreational safety tips. It says always travel with a companion. Think about your footing while traveling. Okay, wear appropriate clothing. This is all just basically basic survival stuff. Check your equipment. Yeah. Learn basic first aid. Yeah. Make camp before dark. Okay, again, all survival stuff. Plus, it says refrain from traveling with a Yeti, which is a smaller but also than the natural enemy of the Sasquatch. So I'm still wondering if this page is real. It is a U.S. government website, I believe. Now, if you're in the government and you know about this stuff and you're looking at this page and you're going, dude, this is completely fake, do me a favor, please leave a link, message down below. You guys are all welcome to comment. Again, just please be polite with your comments. And if somebody else makes a comment that you don't like, do me a favor, just be nice. Ignore it or whatever, put your own opinion, but don't be aggressive towards them. Nobody is an expert in this field. I don't care how long you've been doing this. I can't say nobody. Very few people have ever come up with a body, and of those people that have found come up with a body, nobody's been able to produce, actually give it out to the public. Let's put it that way. Be it the government or private people or whatever, nobody's ever been able to provide a body. Yes, we found tracks and all this other stuff that proves that they possibly exist. But again, you got to take this with a huge grain of salt. And again, like I said, just be respectful to everybody. We're all here to have fun and learn, and maybe become a believer. I don't know, or maybe you're a believer and you're just here to get more information. But this is kind of cool, I believe. So it says keep in mind that these tips are resourceful for any adventure you have in a national forest, not just when you are encountering a 9 foot tall ape man. And 9 feet tall is not how tall they get. They get bigger than that. I mean, like I said, the part of this story that's no joking matter. Okay, I'll read that in just a second. But Bigfoots get a lot bigger than 8, 9 feet. I used to come across two of them that I believe were twins. I called them the bouncers. So yeah, they were 8 feet, 8 to 9 feet tall, but they were 5, 6 feet wide. They were almost as wide as they were tall. They were just these big, burly chested, big arms. I mean, huge arms. I mean, bigger than me, of course. If you have my body, imagine arms. Like take a Andre the Giant and double him, essentially the arms on this thing. Imagine meeting a hairy, wrestler out in the middle of nowhere that is just massive. Anyways, they get up to about I think the adults get up to around the 14 to 15 foot level, and some of them I think the dominant males get up to around 18 to 20 feet. To be honest with you, I don't think they all grow that tall, and I think the different species, from what I've seen blonde, I've seen brown, I've seen red, I've seen black. Let me just start with the black ones seem to be the biggest. They seem to be bigger and taller than most of the other ones. And this is just my encounters. This is not saying this is 100% right. Feel free to comment down below if you've seen a brown one or a tan one or a red one that's pushing 20 feet if you want. But again, this is just based off of what my experiences are. And again, everybody's had their own. If you had a Bigfoot encounter, you had your own experience. And again, I would love to hear you guys. I'd love to hear about your encounters. If you're wanting to come on here, again, there's no judgment on our channel and stuff like that. So, but anyways, it seems like the black ones are the tallest, maybe not the biggest, but the tallest. The red ones seem to be taller and lankier. They usually push 14, 15 feet from what I've seen. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. The brown ones, they're not as tall. They're usually between 8 to about 10, 11, 12 feet. But they're, like I have said, they're burly, they're big, they're wide, they're very strong, very muscular. And then the tan ones, again, are kind of in between, somewhere in between the black and the brown ones. And the red ones, again, from what I've seen, I've never actually seen, I don't think I've ever seen a red one. But they're, if you look at the animals that we know exist, the gorilla, the orangutan, the baboons, all that stuff, these animals, the different colors look a lot like those animals. But imagine an orangutan, a gorilla, a baboon, much, much larger than you would see one in a zoo. Maybe 5, 6 times bigger, sometimes even bigger than that. So, yeah, I mean, they get huge. Okay, so let's read the last part of this, and then I'll show you guys something else on the map real quick, and then we'll get going here. So it says the part of the story that is no joking matter. This is an estimated 6,000 acres of open space are lost each day, a rate of 4 acres per minute. It says, looking ahead, the forest on the Edge project estimates 57 million acres of private forest lands could be experience sizable increase in housing density by 2030, which is true. I mean, I just drive down to Houston, and even in our area, they're building into the forest. We have a lot of forest around us, and they're tearing it down. Like in Bryan here, they're tearing down the forest like crazy and building homes. These people that have owned all this land for long periods of time, and have just left it wild, or they for raising cattle or whatever, they're selling the properties, Maybe because they don't have somebody to leave it to, or they just don't want to do it anymore, or whatever, for whatever the reason is. And they're tearing down all these forests, and they're basically building homes. And this area is growing like crazy. Texas is growing like crazy, and other areas too. I mean, not just Texas, but all across the United States and even the world. We're tearing down habitat, not just for possum Bigfoots, but all kinds of animals. And so those animals are getting pushed either further back into more forested areas or whatever. And I think that's why Bigfoot sightings are kind of on the rise. Also, the fact that people are more possibly aware of them. You may not be a believer, but when one runs across the road in front of you, you're kind of like, wait a minute, what? And especially if it happens during the day, you figure out, okay, that couldn't be anything else but, as I always say, it couldn't be anything else but a Bigfoot. Then you might have something there. So, anyways, these are all just theories at this point. This is very interesting. These two articles have been very, very interesting. And again, I will be following up on these. So, let's see. Here's how I pretty much do this. I grab, when I'm doing pins, I copy stuff off of pages. I go here. So let's just start here. So this is the Mark Twain National Forest. This is the forest that one guy in Missouri was talking about that he's investigating. So I marked it on, I pinned it. And I used to have California pinned like crazy. I had California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Oregon, and Idaho. I think I had some pins up in Washington too. But unfortunately, for some reason, when I moved to Texas, I lost them. Now, as I zoom in, you can see Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, another spot up in Missouri, and this is one I just pinned. And then you come down to Arkansas. And now, if I throw out here, now not all of these are Bigfoot sightings, but I've been pinning quite a few, and about 90% of these are Bigfoot sightings. I took all my other pins off here so I could show you this. But you can see Louisiana, you can see all of Texas. Mainly concentrated on if you cut Texas in half, the right side of it. But anyway, so I'm going to pin this in here. If you're watching, you can see this. If not, I'll kind of talk you through it. So this is Washington State, and this is the Gifford Pinot National Forest. So, he's having some issues. So I'm going to add this into. Save this into Bigfoot sites. And now if I scroll out, I can take a better look at it and see where it is. Okay, this is right next to Mount Rainier National Park. This is very secluded. This area is very secluded. Oh, wow. And if I zoom back in just a tad, you can see there's other pins in and around it. So now those pins might be hundreds of miles apart, so it just tells you that, there's probably more sightings in and around this area. I have a friend that lives in Idaho, so I basically pinned a bunch of stuff for him, because I wanted to see where, if he had Bigfoots living around his area. And so I pinned a lot of different reports. I pin almost every report. I look up, if it's a credible report, I pin it. So I put it on here, and then I kind of glance back and go, okay, that makes sense. This is the United States. And again, if I zoom in enough, it should, I don't know why the pins keep doing this. If you know why the pins are disappearing when I zoom out too far, let me know. So anyways, yeah, I mean, it just shows you there's a cluster of sightings in and around that area. So, and of course, Washington and Oregon have probably the most Bigfoot sightings probably in the world. But yeah, I just found that very interesting. Did we skip over anything? We already talked about that. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen here. All right, guys, so hope you found that interesting. I definitely did. I will be following up on that as well. Regarding the cattle mutilation case, I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to put some stuff together. Like I said, it's probably going to be my first show. They will be on Rumble and YouTube to start, and if they're popular and they do well, they will possibly go over to another channel, and then I'm not sure exactly what platform I'm going to put them on, but it might be pay for view or like pay $1 for view or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to work that out, but that'll help us continue to do the show and stuff like that. So anyways, and then later on they will be free on our YouTube and Rumble channel. And if our channels grow big enough, maybe we'll just put them there and stuff. So, but like I said, the show will mainly be Bigfoot related. That's my focus is Bigfoot and cryptids, including this guy back here. We're going to be continuing to work on this case, and I'm going to continue to put video together. Now I've got a new piece of gear here, and I'll do a unboxing video on that because it came with a crap ton of stuff. A wide angle lens, I mean, it came with everything. So, and then I've got a microphone for it. We're going to be testing that out and seeing how that sounds. That microphone also plugs into an audio recorder. So I can plug that into the audio recorder. We can listen and see if we can hear any of the screams if we don't have a camera with us. So anyways, like I said, lots of cool stuff coming down the pike. Little by little, that show is getting put together. And once I have a couple episodes, I will start airing them on our YouTube and Rumble channel. And I hope that you guys like them. They'll be a little different than what we were doing. Be a combination of what I like from a lot of shows. If there's things that you guys want to see on the show, I know everybody says, "Oh, well, why didn't show the evidence?" Well, sometimes you don't always get evidence, but this will be as we'll do our best. We'll try and get as much evidence of these things as possible with the better camera and the better gear. We'll basically be trying to get all that stuff. We are still, hold on a second, let me do something. Let me go back to the internet. Sorry, I'm looking for, where is this might, let me just bump another thing up in here. That's totally in the way. Let's see, where's my main topic? Anyways, hold on a sec. Apologize here. So, by me, see if I'm still logged in. I don't know why it took me over here. Okay. Okay, you guys can see my email. It's all over the internet anyway. So if I go again, change page. Come on, go. Okay, no, of course. Why would my computer actually do what I'm asking it to do? Okay, there we go. Now on the page. All right. Sorry about all that. So if you're still with us and you're still listening or you're still watching, again, we have a Buy Me a Coffee channel. I'm not really too worried about that. I just want to let you know that we do have a wish list. If you guys would like to help us out and support us in our research, more than just buying us one coffee, we do have a wish list on here. I do have another Canon camera that I'd like to get. I'd like to have a couple, 3 or 4 cameras to essentially help us investigate the paranormal. So, if you want to buy this for us, that'd be great. We have an IR flashlight that we would like to have for our cameras. It comes with a mount. I believe it goes for a rifle, but we can mount it to our cameras, or we can at least use them with our cameras. And then I would really like to get one of these pocket-sized thermal night vision. It's a FLIR. It's a thermal vision handheld monocular camera. So basically, you just put it up to one eye, and it shows you what's hot, what's cold, and with Bigfoot research, those are double-edged sword. I mean, some people say that the having the thermals is the only way to go. That's the only good evidence. And if you can get a Bigfoot to come out in the clearing, yeah. But if one's standing behind a tree or laying on the ground or it's hiding behind something, it's extremely hard to get them on that. So, anyways, I just want to let you guys know about the wish list. If you're interested in coming over here and helping us out and buying, contributing to our cause and buying us one of these, we would be, beyond grateful. So, yeah. Anyways, again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.